A busy executive day is shattered when a little girl, no taller than his desk, walks into billionaire CEO Michael Grant's glass tower with a handwritten note. I sing well. I tell stories. I'm quiet. I just want my mom to get better. At first, he thinks it's a prank. But then Lily speaks. Calmly. Bravely. She explains that her mother is dying, and this is her only shot. She heard Michael's name on the radio. The richest man in the city. And believed if anyone could save her mom, it would be him. What unfolds is a journey that turns a man of profits into a man of purpose. But when Michael sees the photo inside Lily's locket, the past he buried crashes back. What's the connection between this brave little girl and the sister he lost? This isn't just a story about wealth. It's about fate, forgiveness, and the family we never expect. Stick around to see how one child's courage melts a billionaire's heart. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Michael Grant hadn't planned to stop his meeting. Not for anyone. The boardroom was full of voices, screens aglow with projections, quarterly targets, and heat-pressed strategies. But when his assistant knocked, twice, unusually soft, and slipped in with an apologetic look, Michael lifted one brow. "There's a child asking to see you. She's alone." He blinked. "A child?" "6, maybe 7. She has a note." Michael almost waved it off, but something in the way the assistant swallowed her words made him pause. "Send her in," he said, surprising even himself. The door creaked open a minute later. In stepped the smallest, steadiest girl he had ever seen. Braided hair, frayed coat sleeves, and eyes far too calm for her age. She didn't look nervous, just determined. In her hands, she held a piece of paper, creased, dotted with fingerprints. She walked straight up to him, stopped a foot away, and held the note out. "This is for you," she said softly. "Please read it." Michael took the paper slowly. It wasn't typed. It was handwritten in loopy block letters with a pink crayon. "I sing well. I tell stories. I don't make noise. I just want my mom to get better. Please help." There was a heart drawn next to the last sentence. A small, careful heart. Michael stared at it, then at the child. "What's your name?" "Lily," she said. "I'm 6, almost 7. He motioned for her to sit, but she shook her head. "I won't stay long. I know you're busy." That stopped him again. "Where's your mother, Lily?" "At the clinic on 10th Street. She's sick. I came alone." Michael blinked. "Alone?" Lily nodded, her expression unwavering. "I heard your name on the radio. They said you were the richest man in the city. I thought maybe you'd help." Silence settled between them. Not the awkward kind, but the heavy kind, like the weight of something invisible pressing into the room. Michael swallowed hard. "Why do you think I can help?" he asked gently. "Because people like you can fix things," Lily said. "You build restaurants. You own buildings. Maybe you could help me fix my mom." Michael leaned forward slowly, his elbows resting on his knees. "What happened to her?" "She has cancer," Lily said. "It started in her stomach. Now it's everywhere. The clinic doctor said she needs treatment, but we don't have money, so I thought I could earn some." He blinked. "Earn some?" "I sing on the bus. I tell stories outside the supermarket. Sometimes people give me coins." She fidgeted now, for the first time. "It's not enough, so I came here." Michael's throat tightened. For a man who negotiated 7-figure deals before breakfast, he felt uncharacteristically unprepared. "Does your mother know you're here?" "No," Lily said quietly. "She was sleeping when I left. I didn't want to scare her." He stood and walked to the window, heart beating strangely in his chest. His entire office tower looked out over the city skyline, shimmering with the kind of promise people like Lily rarely tasted. He had built this empire, brick by brick. He was a man who saw solutions. But right now, he didn't know what to say. He turned back to her. "Would you take me to your mother?" Lily blinked, surprised. "Really?" "Yes," Michael said softly. "I'd like to meet her." Lily's face didn't change much, but her eyes, those eye-white watchful eyes, softened slightly. "Okay," she said, "but the place isn't nice. It smells like bleach and old soup. But Mom says it's still better than nothing." Michael reached for his coat. The meeting outside the glass walls could wait. The Empire could wait. "Let's go," he said. "We'll take my car." As they walked through the lobby together, this towering man in a tailored suit and a tiny girl with scuffed shoes, heads turned. But Michael didn't notice. For once, the numbers didn't matter. Lily looked up at him. "You don't seem like someone who says yes a lot." He looked down at her, lips curving faintly. "I used to, a long time ago." She nodded solemnly. "Maybe you'll start again, and for the first time in a very long time." Michael Grant hoped she was right. The ride from Michael's office to the clinic on 10th Street was quiet, but not uncomfortably so. Lily sat in the back seat, her legs swinging just above the floor mats of his Bentley, hands folded in her lap like she was afraid to touch anything. Michael glanced at her through the rearview mirror now and then, noting the way she looked out the window, not with wonder, but with intention, as if cataloging the streets, the turns, the smells. "She used to teach," Lily said suddenly. Her voice was small but steady. "My mom. 2nd grade. She was really good at it, too. Her kids loved her." Michael turned slightly in his seat. "What happened?" "They cut her hours, and then she got sick. She didn't tell anyone until she fainted in class. They let her go after that, said she was too weak to work." Michael's jaw tensed. "That doesn't seem fair." Lily shrugged. "We still had some savings, but it all went to medicine. When that ran out, we moved into a one-room place over a laundromat. I don't mind it, but she cries sometimes when she thinks I'm asleep." He swallowed hard. "You shouldn't have to carry that." Lily glanced up. "I don't mind. She carried me for 9 months. I figure I owe her something back." Michael turned to the window, pretending to study the traffic. Her words cut deeper than he expected. They passed block after block, each one slipping further from the polished city center. The sidewalks cracked, the storefronts lost their luster, and still, Lily sat upright, directing him with calm confidence. "Here," she said finally, pointing. "That's the clinic." Michael pulled up in front of a squat, weathered building. The sign out front was chipped. St. Jude Free Medical Services. A faded poster in the window read, "No insurance, no problem." The door creaked as they stepped inside. The scent of antiseptic and overcooked cabbage hung in the air. A nurse at the front desk looked up, startled to see a man in a $1,000 coat standing beside a child in worn sneakers. "Can I help you?" she asked, standing quickly. "I'm here to see a patient," Michael replied. "Anna?" "Anna Moore," Lily said, filling in for him. "She's my mom." Recognition softened the nurse's features. "Room 3. She's resting now." They walked down the narrow hallway, the buzzing fluorescent lights overhead casting shadows along the peeling walls. Room 3 was small and dim, with a single hospital bed and one cracked plastic chair. Anna lay there, curled on her side, skeletal beneath a faded blanket. Her hair, once dark, was patchy and dull. Her skin was a shade too pale. But even in that state, something about her struck Michael, something familiar, something unspoken. "This is her," Lily whispered. "She passed out last night. They gave her fluids, but she's really tired." Michael stepped closer. On the small metal tray beside the bed lay a wrinkled tissue, a half-empty water bottle, and a drawing. Crayon flowers with a sun in the corner. In Lily's careful handwriting, "Get better, Mom. I love you." Lily gently reached into her coat pocket and pulled out the note Michael had read earlier. She placed it on the nightstand next to the water. I told her about you. She doesn't know I came yet, but I think she'll be happy." Michael stood in silence, absorbing the moment. This was a far cry from the penthouse boardrooms he lived in. There were no marble floors, no custom espresso machines, no curated playlists humming from invisible speakers, just the sound of a weak heartbeat and a little girl's faith. "I want to help," he said finally. Lily turned to him, eyes wide. "Really?" "I'll move her to the best hospital in the city. Private care, the right doctors, the right treatments." Her hands clasped together tightly. "You think she'll get better?" "I don't know," he admitted honestly, "but I promise I'll try everything." Lily looked down, her lower lip trembling slightly. Then she reached for his hand, not hesitantly, but with quiet trust. "Thank you." Michael gave her fingers a gentle squeeze. "You're very brave, Lily." "She's braver," Lily whispered. "She always tells me stories before bed, even when she's tired. She makes up songs to help me laugh when I'm scared." Michael's chest ached. "And what do you do for her?" Lily smiled softly. "I sing in the mornings, so she doesn't wake up to silence." Silence. That word again. But this time, it didn't feel hollow. It felt sacred. As they stepped back into the hallway, Michael reached for his phone. "Call Dr. Samuels at St. Augustine's," he told his assistant. "I'm bringing in a new patient, immediately." He looked back at the door, then at Lily. "Let's bring your mom home." The quiet whir of the private hospital's elevator felt surreal as it carried them upward, away from the crumbling exterior of the free clinic and into a place where everything gleamed, from the polished marble floors to the spotless air filled with sterile calm. Lily held Michael's hand tightly, not out of fear, but with a quiet gratitude that made her small fingers feel like anchors on his soul. He didn't say much during the ride. There was nothing to say that would make the day less overwhelming for her, or for himself. In the back of his mind, memories stirred, grainy and sharp. Memories of his sister laughing in the kitchen as she danced barefoot on tile. Memories of the call he never returned. Memories of what he chose to forget because ambition demanded it. "Mr. Grant?" A woman in a navy blazer greeted them at the 11th floor. "We've prepped a suite for Miss Moore. Dr. Samuels will arrive in 20 minutes. Michael nodded. "Thank you, Rachel. She's in fragile condition. Don't wait for paperwork. Admit her. I'll handle the rest." Rachel turned her warm smile toward Lily. "Hi there, sweetheart. I'll take good care of your mom, okay?" Lily nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "She likes warm blankets and soft music, not the beep-beep kind." Michael watched Rachel's face soften as she led them into the room, private, sunlit, with a view of the city skyline. The sheets were fresh, the windows spotless. There was no smell of bleach or despair, just a quiet, dignified peace. Two nurses entered gently and began transferring Anna to the new bed. She didn't wake. Her body, though slightly improved, remained fragile, skin pale, eyes sunken from months of missed care. Lily stood beside the bed, clutching a small canvas backpack. From it, she pulled out a worn teddy bear, a folded scarf, and a tiny silver locket. "She wore this when she used to walk me to school," she said, placing the scarf on the nightstand. "And this is Mr. Bean's. He guards her dreams." Michael knelt beside her. "And the locket?" Lily opened it slowly. Inside were two photographs, one of Anna, radiant and young, holding a toddler. The other was grainier, older, faded. It was Michael's sister, Rachel Grant. He froze, blood draining from his face. She said it belonged to her best friend, someone who helped her once. Lily explained innocently. "She told me to keep it safe." Michael reached out, fingers trembling, brushing the edge of the locket as if afraid it might disappear. "Rachel," he whispered, the name escaping him like a prayer. His thoughts spiraled. Rachel had vanished years ago, after one final fight about how he was changing, about how he'd become someone who chased success over soul. He had tried to find her later, through private investigators, but all leads went cold. The guilt had lived quietly in the margins of his mind ever since. Could Anna have known her? Been part of the life Rachel built after walking away? A soft knock broke the silence. Dr. Samuels entered, clipboard in hand. "Vitals are stabilizing. She's responding to fluids. We're starting her on a new treatment plan this evening. The cancer hasn't spread beyond the kidneys. With time, she has a fighting chance." Lily looked up. "She's going to be okay?" Dr. Samuels hesitated, then nodded with measured optimism. "She's strong. That gives us hope." Lily exhaled slowly. "I told you," she said, looking at Michael. "You're the one." Michael's eyes burned as he knelt beside the bed. Anna's chest rose and fell steadily now. He gently placed Lily's note, the one with the shaky handwriting and the final line, "Please help us," next to the locket. "I'm staying," he whispered. "As long as she needs. As long as you need." That night, Michael didn't return to his penthouse. He didn't take a call from his board. He didn't check the markets or respond to texts from associates worried about his sudden absence. Instead, he sat in a reclining chair beside Anna's bed, watching Lily fall asleep curled under a soft hospital blanket. Before closing her eyes, Lily whispered, "Can we get her favorite soup tomorrow?" Michael smiled gently. "We'll make it ourselves." She nodded, content. "You're good at keeping promises." He swallowed hard, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. "I've broken too many before, but not this one." Outside, the city shimmered beneath the moonlight. In the quiet space of a hospital room, a powerful man realized that saving a life had nothing to do with status, and everything to do with showing up. For the first time in decades, Michael Grant didn't feel like a CEO. He felt like family. Morning came softly to the hospital room, sunlight filtering through blinds in thin golden lines. Michael sat exactly where he'd been all night, his shoulders hunched, his suit wrinkled, but his focus steady on the woman lying in the bed and the small child curled beside her. Lily had shifted in her sleep, her hand now resting protectively on Anna's arm. That small gesture, quiet, instinctive, cut through Michael more deeply than anything he'd ever read in a quarterly report. He'd once believed success was measured in towers built, in stock prices and power plays. But here, in this modest hospital room, wrapped in a child's trust and a woman's silence, success looked very different. Anna stirred. It was subtle, a twitch in her fingers, a faint furrow in her brow, but it made Michael sit upright instantly. "Mom?" Lily murmured, blinking as she stirred. Anna's eyelids fluttered, heavy and hesitant, before finally opening. Her gaze struggled to focus. "Lily?" "I'm here," Lily whispered eagerly, scooting closer, her voice trembling with joy. Anna turned her head, painfully slowly, until her eyes landed on Michael. She blinked again, as if unsure whether he was real. Then recognition washed over her, and with it, something deeper. Shock, confusion, and something that looked a lot like heartbreak. "Michael?" Her voice was barely a whisper. He stood, but didn't move closer yet. "Yes," he said softly, his throat tight. "I'm here." Tears welled in Anna's eyes before she could stop them. "How?" "Lily found me," Michael replied gently. "She came to my office. She asked me to help." Anna tried to sit up, but winced. Michael stepped forward and pressed a hand lightly against her shoulder. "Easy. You need to rest." "You helped her?" she asked in disbelief, glancing at Lily, then back to him. He nodded, his voice thick. "I'm the one who owes you both everything. I didn't know about you, about her, but I'm here now, and I'm staying." Anna's eyes welled again, and she closed them, letting the tears slip silently down her cheeks. "She's everything," she whispered. "My whole world." "I can see that," Michael said, his voice quiet, reverent. The room fell into a heavy silence. broken only by the rhythmic beeping of machines and the sound of Lily's soft breathing as she rested her head against her mother's arm. "I kept the locket," Anna said at last, "because I needed something that still felt real, something that reminded me of Rachel." Michael glanced at the bedside table where the locket rested, its hinge still open, displaying his sister's photo. "You were close?" Anna nodded slowly. "She saved my life, gave me courage when I thought I had none left. When she passed, I was pregnant. I didn't know where else to turn." He sat down again, quietly processing it all. "She was my sister." Anna looked at him with aching eyes. "I didn't know how to reach you, and by the time Lily was born, it felt too late." "It's not too late," he said firmly, his voice raw. "It can't be." They sat like that for a while, suspended between past and present, the quiet thread of memory binding them in new, unfamiliar ways. That afternoon, a nurse brought in warm broth and crackers. Lily coaxed her mother to take a few sips, giggling gently when Anna wrinkled her nose at the blandness. Michael watched the two of them together, heart thudding at the realization of what had nearly slipped through his fingers. These weren't just two people he was helping. They were his family now, whether by blood or by choice, and he wasn't going to lose them. Later, when Anna drifted back to sleep, Michael took Lily to the hospital's small garden. They sat on a bench beside a fountain, her tiny legs swinging above the stone. "She smiled today," Lily said, picking at a leaf. "That means she's getting better, right?" "She is," Michael answered gently. "Because you were brave, because you didn't give up." Lily looked at him, serious. "Are you going to give up?" He reached down, brushing her curls back from her face. "Never. I'm not going anywhere, Lily, I promise." She looked away, as if uncertain how to trust that just yet. But she didn't pull away, and when he held out his hand, she took it without hesitation. That night, as the city glowed beneath a fading sky, Michael sat with a notebook in his lap. For the first time in years, he wasn't outlining business strategies or quarterly goals. He was drawing. Rough sketches, a little house, a garden, a kitchen with 3 chairs. He wasn't just planning a recovery. He was sketching a future. The soft sound of rain tapped gently against the hospital room's window, a delicate rhythm that mirrored the steady, uncertain pulse of hope that now beat between them all. Anna had slept most of the day, her body slowly recovering strength. Michael, now a familiar presence beside her bed, had become a silent guardian, never pushing, simply showing up. Lily had drawn another picture that morning. This one showed 3 people holding hands in a sunny field. Above them floated a big, smiling sun and a speech bubble that read, "We're going home now." Michael carefully tucked the picture into his briefcase, beside business contracts and memos that suddenly felt like artifacts from another life. That evening, Anna stirred again, and her voice was stronger. "She told me you stayed the whole night," she said softly. Michael looked up from his chair. "I did. I didn't want to be anywhere else." Anna studied him for a long moment, her eyes tired but clearer now. "Why?" He exhaled slowly, unsure how to explain something that had reshaped him in ways he couldn't fully grasp. "Because you're not just someone I helped. You're family. You and Lily. I should have known sooner, but I know now." Anna's gaze drifted toward the window, her expression unreadable. "I never wanted to depend on anyone, especially not you." "I understand," he said gently, "but I want to be here, not out of obligation, but because I care, because your daughter walked into my office and reminded me what love looks like when it's brave." Anna closed her eyes, overwhelmed by the magnitude of it all. Michael didn't press her. He simply remained beside her, a quiet vow made human. The following day, Anna was moved to a private recovery suite. The doctors were cautiously optimistic. With proper care, she would have a real chance, not just to survive, but to reclaim a life stolen by poverty, fear, and silence. Michael coordinated everything. He hired a private oncologist, a dedicated nurse, and arranged nutritional support. No detail escaped his attention. But even as he orchestrated medical miracles, his favorite moments were smaller. Sitting beside Lily on the hospital lawn as she read to him, watching her draw stars and hearts on the whiteboard in Anna's room, listening to her hum lullabies to her sleeping mother. Late one afternoon, as Lily colored quietly on the floor, Anna looked at Michael and asked, "Do you think she'll remember this? All of it?" Michael hesitated. "She might, but maybe not in the way you think. Maybe she'll remember how strong you were, how love showed up when it was needed, and how she taught a lonely man how to feel again." Anna blinked away tears. "You sound like someone who's been through something." He nodded slowly. "I lost my sister, Rachel, years ago. We were close, but I let the business take over everything. Missed birthdays, missed her final days. It's haunted me ever since." Anna reached for his hand, her grip weak but sincere. "Then maybe this is your second chance, too." The next morning, the social worker arrived. Michael had requested the meeting, and his palms were slightly clammy as he stood in the corner while the woman interviewed Anna about Lily's guardianship. "Miss Harper," the social worker said, glancing at her tablet, "Michael Grant has offered to step in as legal guardian should your condition worsen. Are you comfortable discussing that?" Anna's eyes flicked to Michael. "I am, but I'm not giving up." "No one's suggesting you are," Michael interjected softly. "It's just a safety net, in case you ever need it." Anna smiled faintly. "He's already caught us once." Later, as the social worker left, she turned to Michael. "She's a fighter, and your presence here, it matters more than you know." That evening, Lily climbed up beside Michael on the hospital bed. "Mom says I'm brave," she said matter-of-factly. "But I think you're brave too." He chuckled gently. "Why's that?" "Because you stayed. Most grown-ups leave when things get hard. But you stayed, even when Mom was sick, even when I was scared." Michael swallowed hard. "I'll always stay." Lily leaned her head on his arm. "Then you're family now. That's what Mom said." He kissed the top of her head, letting her words sink deep into the hollows of his chest. The next morning, he received a call from his assistant. A board meeting was scheduled. His absence had been noticed. Investors had questions. Michael looked out at the sunlit courtyard beyond the hospital windows. Then he turned to Lily and smiled. "Want to help me write a letter to some important people?" he asked. "Sure," she grinned, swinging her legs. "What should we say?" He opened his laptop and began typing. "To whom it may concern. There are things more valuable than quarterly profits. One of them just handed me a crayon and told me I'm brave." The hospital room had begun to feel less like a sterile waiting place and more like a fragile sanctuary. Soft sunlight filtered through the blinds, warming the floor where Lily sat cross-legged, humming as she carefully arranged her crayons in a rainbow arc. Her mother rested peacefully nearby, color slowly returning to her face. Michael arrived that morning with 2 cups of hot cocoa and a box of pastries. Lily beamed when she saw him. "You remembered the apple turnovers," she giggled, reaching eagerly. "Mom used to save one for my birthday breakfast." Michael smiled warmly. "Then I figured today was as good a day as any to celebrate." He handed her the warm pastry, his eyes flickering toward Anna. She still hadn't spoken much, but her eyes followed them now, softer, alert. After breakfast, Lily pulled her small, worn backpack onto the bed and unzipped it slowly. "I want to show you something important," she said, her voice hushed like it was sacred. From the front pocket, she retrieved a tiny, heart-shaped locket, the gold faded and scratched, its chain thin and frayed. "My mom wears this when she's not sick," Lily whispered, pressing it into Michael's palm. "She gave it to me so I could keep it safe." Michael opened the clasp delicately. Inside were two tiny photographs. On the left was a picture of a young woman, Anna, but younger, bright-eyed, joyful, and with the Lily's same stubborn chin. On the right, a teenage girl with soft features and warm brown eyes smiled back at him. Something about her expression made the air leave his lungs. His fingers trembled. "Where did your mom get this?" "It was her best friend," Lily said, almost in a whisper. "She told me they were like sisters. But they lost touch a long time ago. Her name was Rachel." Michael's breath caught audibly. Rachel, his sister, the sister he hadn't seen in nearly 15 years, the sister who'd vanished from his life after a falling out neither of them had fully recovered from. The locket slipped slightly in his hand. His thoughts raced. Could it be? Had Anna and Rachel once shared a life he never knew about? "I knew her," he said finally, his voice barely audible. "Rachel was my sister." Lily blinked in surprise. That means you and Mom." He looked at Anna again, now awake and watching him with tired curiosity. "Did Rachel ever talk about me?" he asked quietly. Anna nodded slowly. "Every day." Michael lowered himself into the chair beside her. "I thought she hated me when she left. I never got the chance to fix things." "She didn't hate you," Anna said, voice raspy but honest. "She was hurt, but she always hoped you'd come around. She never stopped believing in you." Tears welled in Michael's eyes before he could stop them. "I failed her." "No," Anna said firmly. "You're here now. And Lily needed someone who understood where she came from. Maybe this was meant to happen." Lily reached over and wrapped her small arms around Michael's waist, anchoring him with a tenderness that shattered him. He held her tightly, his heart full of regret, awe, and something new, something he hadn't felt in a long time. Belonging. That afternoon, Michael stepped out of the hospital room and called his lawyer. "I need to find every record you can on Rachel Grant," he said into the phone. "Any connections she had in Portland, especially with Anna Harper. I want the truth, no matter how complicated." Back inside, Lily was sitting beside her mother again, coloring quietly. Anna looked at him with wary affection. "You really didn't know?" she asked gently. Michael shook his head. "Not until today, but now that I do, I won't walk away." Later that evening, Lily handed Michael the locket once more. "I think you should keep it for a while," she said. "It's part of you too." Michael clutched it tightly, this tiny artifact now tying together all the broken parts of his past, his family, and his future. "Thank you," he said softly. "I'll keep it safe." And he meant it. Not just the locket, but everything it now symbolized. Rachel's memory, Anna's strength, and Lily's unshakable heart. In the hallway, he paused outside the room, looking in at the two people who had changed everything. There was no boardroom, no executive summit, no private jet that could compare to what he felt now. He wasn't just a millionaire. He wasn't just a CEO. He was a man being given the chance to rewrite everything, this time with love. The private hospital room had grown quieter since the morning rush. Machines hummed gently beside the bed, keeping rhythm with Anna's breath, steadier now. A nurse entered with a clipboard, nodding at Michael before adjusting the IV drip and leaving as discreetly as she'd arrived. Michael sat by the window with Lily curled against his side. She'd fallen asleep mid-sentence while reading a fairy tale aloud, her small hand still clutching the book's edge. He studied her face, peaceful, trusting, too brave for someone so young. His phone buzzed, but he silenced it without looking. For the first time in years, work could wait. Anna stirred, her eyes fluttering open to find him watching her. "She's been sleeping better," she said hoarsely, "since you started coming around." Michael smiled gently. She's got a gift for calming storms." Anna looked down at her daughter, then back at Michael. Her eyes were glassy, but not from illness. "I can't believe you found us. Or that she found you." "She didn't just find me," he said quietly. "She walked right into my office and changed everything." Anna reached for his hand, her fingers cold but steady. "You kept your promise," she whispered. "You really moved her here. And me." "I said I would," he replied firmly, "and I intend to do more." A soft knock interrupted them. A doctor entered, clipboard in hand, and a guarded expression on his face. "I have an update," he said, glancing between them. Michael sat upright. Anna reached instinctively for Lily's hand, waking her. The doctor's voice was calm but serious. "Anna's condition is critical but stabilizing. With continued treatment, we believe she has a fighting chance, but it's going to be a long road." Michael exhaled. Lily looked up, eyes wide. "You mean, my mom can get better?" The doctor nodded. "If she responds to the therapy we've started, and her body holds up." Lily turned to Michael, her voice trembling with hope. "You said you'd help her. You promised." Michael bent to her level, placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "And I meant it. I'm not going anywhere, Lily." The girl stared into his eyes, searching for any sign of hesitation. There was none. "I want to be there for her treatments," Lily declared. "Every time. I'll sing if she needs it, like I do at night." "You'll be her strength," Michael said, his throat thickening. "But you won't do it alone." After the doctor left, Anna lay back against her pillows, clearly drained. Lily tucked the blanket around her mother's legs and whispered something that made Anna smile weakly. Then she reached for her backpack. "I want to show you something," Lily said to Michael. She opened her bag and pulled out a sketch pad. Well used, with curled corners and crayon marks smudging the edges. She flipped through pages until she landed on one with a tree, drawn in bright oranges and yellows, autumn leaves falling gently. Beneath the tree were 3 figures holding hands. One was clearly Lily. The second, a woman with long brown hair, her mother. The third, a tall man with glasses, a little unsure in his stance. "This is you," she said, tapping the figure with a small smile. "At first, I didn't know what to draw for your face, but then you smiled at me last night when I fell asleep, and I remembered it." Michael swallowed, deeply moved. "It's perfect." "I never had someone to draw in this spot before," Lily whispered. Anna's eyes welled up. "She's been drawing that picture for years, always left it unfinished." Michael's voice cracked. "May I keep it?" Lily's eyes lit up. "Only if you promise something." "Anything," he said instantly. "That even when Mom gets better and everything's okay again, you'll still be around." Michael stood slowly, then bent down and pressed a kiss to the top of Lily's head. "You have my word." That night, after Anna had fallen asleep again, Lily sat beside Michael in the small hospital garden. The city lights blinked in the distance like stars trying to reach them. "She used to be a teacher," Lily said softly, "but she gave up everything when she got sick. I think she misses having a purpose." Michael stared at her in quiet awe. "She raised you to be remarkable." Lily grinned. "She always said I was born with a voice that wanted to be heard. I just didn't know it could reach so far." He laughed gently. "It reached farther than you know." They sat in silence a while longer, the kind that doesn't beg to be filled. Then Lily looked up at him, her expression more serious. "You're kind, but also sad sometimes," she said. "Do you miss someone too?" Michael nodded slowly. "My sister, and maybe a version of myself I lost along the way." Lily took his hand, squeezing it softly. "Well, I think you're finding him again." He looked at her, overwhelmed by the gravity of what such a small voice could carry. "Maybe I am," he whispered. And in that moment, with the city watching quietly, Michael Grant Millionaire, executive, skeptic of miracles, realized that healing didn't only happen in hospital rooms. Sometimes it began with a promise and a child's belief that someone would keep it. It was nearly dusk when Michael returned to the hospital the next evening, a paper bag of Lily's favorite soup swinging from his wrist and a soft, lingering nervousness in his chest. Something had shifted in him over the past few days, something irreversible. He used to measure his time in contracts and acquisitions. Now it was measured in Lily's smiles and Anna's quiet breaths. Lily met him in the lobby, bounding toward him like she hadn't seen him in years instead of just 24 hours. "You came back," she squealed, throwing her arms around his waist. "I promised, didn't I?" Michael replied, ruffling her hair. "And I brought dinner." She grinned up at him. "Mom's awake today, not too tired either. I think it's working." Michael followed her to the room, his heart cautiously hopeful. Anna sat up, a pale quilt draped over her legs. Her face was gaunt, but color had returned to her cheeks, and her eyes were alert. "Hi," she said softly. He replied, unable to hide the warmth in his voice. They ate together quietly, Anna nibbling at crackers, Lily dipping bread into her soup, and Michael watching both with the contentment of a man who finally understood what it meant to feel full without food. When the meal was done, Lily reached into her backpack again and pulled out a small, velvet pouch. She walked over to her mother's bedside and placed it gently in Anna's palm. "You forgot this," she said. "You always keep it near." Anna opened the pouch slowly and revealed a small, silver, heart-shaped locket. Time had dulled its shine, but the clasp still worked as Lily carefully opened it for her. "I keep it next to my pillow when she's too sick to wear it," Lily explained to Michael, "so she remembers she's loved, even when she's sleeping." Michael leaned closer, curiosity pulling at him. The locket was open now. On one side, a tiny picture of Anna and baby Lily bundled together in a blanket. On the other side was a face that made Michael's breath catch. A woman. Younger than he remembered her, but unmistakable. The same intense eyes, the same arch to her smile. "Sophie," he whispered, stunned. Anna looked at him sharply. "You knew her?" "She was my sister," he said slowly, his voice cracking under the weight of realization. "We lost touch almost 15 years ago. She disappeared after a fight with our parents. I tried to find her, but I never did." Anna blinked, disoriented. "Sophie was my best friend in college. She's the one who introduced me to Lily's father. Or, rather, she tried." Michael's head reeled. "She told me about a roommate who was bright, compassionate, stubborn as hell. I didn't know she meant you." Anna's hands trembled. "We kept in touch for a while after college. She'd visit sometimes, and then, after I got sick, I tried calling, but the number changed, and I had no way to reach you either." Lily looked between them, confused but sensing something important. Michael sat down, his heart pounding. She would have loved Lily. She always wanted a daughter, but never had one. She used to talk about family like it was something you build, not something you're born into. "She helped me believe I could be a mom," Anna said quietly, "even when I was terrified." Lily crawled up beside her, placing a hand over the locket. Is she gone?" Michael nodded solemnly. "She passed away in an accident, years ago." They sat in silence, the gravity of connection filling the room like the soft hum of the machines. Lily reached over and placed the locket between them all. "Then maybe this was meant to bring us together," she whispered. Michael's throat tightened. Maybe it was. That night, as Michael drove home, he pulled over a few blocks from his apartment. He stared at the skyline, the lights of the city he thought he'd conquered, now appearing dim compared to the warmth of that small hospital room. He opened his phone and scrolled through old contacts. There were dozens of names, investors, partners, assistants, but none of them felt as important as the quiet promise that had bloomed in that hospital room. The next morning, he showed up earlier than usual with breakfast and new sketchbooks for Lily. She greeted him with the excitement of someone welcoming family home. Later that day, Michael received a call from his assistant. "The board wants to meet. They heard you're stepping away from day-to-day operations." "I am," Michael replied calmly. "They're confused, concerned." "Let them be," he said. "For the first time in a long time, I'm exactly where I need to be." He hung up and turned to find Lily watching him, her eyes curious. "Everything okay?" she asked. Michael smiled. "Better than okay." She slid her small hand into his. "Good, because we still have a lot of soup to make." He laughed. "Then I guess I'd better stay." 2 weeks passed, quietly at first. Michael spent every afternoon at the hospital helping Lily with her homework or sitting beside Anna as she slowly regained strength. In those peaceful hours, a man once defined by stock charts and board meetings was learning how to sit still, how to be present. But peace, as Michael knew too well, was never permanent. It started with a phone call, one his assistant Karen hesitated to make. "You should see this, sir," she said cautiously. "It's trending." He clicked the link she sent. A grainy photo from outside the hospital showed Michael walking hand in hand with Lily, her locket glinting in the sunlight. The headline read, "Reclusive Millionaire CEO Adopts Random Street Child. PR Stunt or Redemption." He cursed under his breath. "I didn't announce this. Who leaked it?" Karen's voice dropped. "Could be hospital staff, or someone from corporate. The media's calling non-stop. I've been redirecting them to legal." Michael rubbed his temple, the old instincts clawing at him. Pull back, contain the narrative, clean the optics. But then he looked over to the sketch Lily had given him the night before, a smiling sun over 3 stick figures, himself, Lily, and Anna, standing beneath a crooked rainbow. At the bottom, us, he sighed. "Let them call. I'm not hiding this." But the world, as he was reminded quickly, wasn't kind to soft edges. That afternoon, his phone lit up with a name he hadn't seen in years. Martin Schultz, CFO and board member, and a man with more ice in his veins than Michael ever had. "You've gone sentimental, Michael," Martin said coolly. "That's dangerous in our business." "This isn't business, but it's affecting business," Martin replied. "Shareholders want answers. Our upcoming expansion? Investors are skittish now. Rumors are swirling. I don't care. You need to care, because this little media fairy tale you're writing might cost hundreds of employees their stability." Michael's jaw tightened. "Then let the board know. I'm not stepping away from Lily, or Anna." A beat of silence. "Very well," Martin said. "But the press will do what it does. Hope your new family can survive it." That night, when Michael visited the hospital, he kept his voice light for Lily's sake, but Anna saw through it. "You're distracted," she said gently. "They found out," he murmured. "The board, the media, everyone." Anna frowned. "You didn't plan for this?" "I didn't plan for any of this," he admitted with a soft chuckle. "But I wouldn't change a thing." She looked at him for a long moment. "Are you sure, Michael? Because I don't want Lily dragged through a storm she never asked for." He met her eyes, steady and full of emotion. "She's already lived through storms. I'm trying to build her a harbor." Just then, a knock on the door interrupted them. A woman in a crisp suit stood there, calm, cold, and official. "Anna Walsh?" she asked. Anna sat up, her back instinctively straightening. "I'm Trina Marsh from Child Protective Services. We've received an anonymous tip about a possible custody issue regarding your daughter, Lily." Anna's face went pale. "Custody issue?" Trina pulled out a folder. Concerns about your long-term medical capacity, and whether a man, Mr. Michael Grant, is exerting undue influence. Michael stepped forward. She's my friend. I've been helping her daughter, that's all. Trina's eyes didn't soften. Nevertheless, there will be an assessment. Standard procedure. I'll be visiting your home environment, speaking with Lily's teachers. We'll contact you soon. And then she was gone, leaving the room frozen in silence. Anna gripped the bed rail. They could take her, Michael. No, he said firmly, walking to her side. I won't let that happen. I'll get the best attorneys. I'll speak to the judge myself if I have to. Tears welled in her eyes. I'm not strong enough to fight this alone. You're not alone anymore, he whispered. Not now. Not ever. Later that night, when Lily returned from the playroom, Michael didn't tell her what had happened. Instead, he helped her into bed and read from her favorite storybook. Halfway through, she stopped him. Why are your eyes wet? She asked softly. Michael smiled through the ache in his chest. Sometimes grown-ups cry when they're really, really proud. She giggled. That's silly. Maybe. But I'm proud of you, Lily, of everything you are. She nestled into the pillow, locket clutched in her small hand. Will we still be together tomorrow? Yes, he said without hesitation, and the day after that, and the day after that. But in the quiet dark, after she'd drifted to sleep, Michael sat beside her and stared out the window. He'd built skyscrapers, outmaneuvered rivals, amassed a fortune. But now he faced the hardest fight of his life, protecting a little girl who believed in him before he ever believed in himself. Michael stood in front of the full-length mirror in his penthouse, adjusting his tie with uncharacteristic care. The early morning light flooded the room, casting a golden hue on the silent walls that had once symbolized triumph but now felt hollow compared to the warmth of Lily's hospital room. Today was the day. He took one last look at himself, a man no longer defined by power but by purpose. Then he walked out the door. By 10 a.m., the flagship location of his restaurant chain in downtown Chicago had been transformed. No VIP curtains, no private chefs, just a long wooden table stretching down the middle of the main dining room. No reservations required. A handwritten sign out front read, Everyone has a story. Tonight, ours begins with Lily. Journalists and critics had lined up since sunrise, many expecting a PR stunt, others simply curious. Michael didn't care. For once, he wasn't speaking to them. He was speaking to her. At 6:30 p.m., the room filled. Cameras flashed. Whispered speculation rippled like wind through wheat. Then Michael stepped onto a small platform near the table, a single spotlight illuminating him. He wore no microphone, no cue cards, only his voice, steady and raw. Thank you for coming. I know many of you have questions, and I suppose for once, I have answers. A murmur moved through the crowd. He continued, calmly but deliberately. A few weeks ago, I met a girl named Lily. She came into my office with nothing but a handwritten note, a backpack full of determination, and a heart big enough to fill this room. The screen behind him displayed the note, scanned and projected for all to see. She asked me to help save her mother's life, not because she expected a miracle, but because she believed in goodness. She believed someone would listen. He paused, his throat tight, and it broke me to realize that I had spent years building walls high enough to block out that kind of faith. A gasp rose from the audience. Michael stepped down and walked to the table, now surrounded by dozens of children, young, nervous, wearing borrowed aprons from the kitchen. They were the real stars of the night. Tonight, they will cook, they will serve, they will tell their stories. He turned back to the audience. And I will listen. The evening unfolded with unexpected warmth. Lily, in her chef's hat, brought out bowls of tomato soup, Anna's old recipe, tweaked lovingly by Lily herself. Each child shared something about a lost parent, a dream deferred, a battle survived. Even the reporters put down their notepads. No one had seen a CEO like this before. Meanwhile, Michael remained in the background, quietly helping Lily carry trays, offering whispered encouragement when her hands trembled. Anna, still recovering but able to attend for a brief hour, sat near the kitchen door watching the scene unfold, her hand clasped to her chest, overcome by gratitude and disbelief. As the final course was served, Lily's modest apple crumble, Michael took the mic once more. Some may say this is a distraction from business, that it's emotionally manipulative. Maybe it is. A soft laugh rumbled through the room. But I'll tell you what it really is. Necessary. Because somewhere along the way, we've forgotten that leadership isn't about control. It's about care. He took a breath. And if I lose investors because of that, so be it. But I will not lose them. He gestured to the kids, smiling, proud, whole. Then he looked toward Lily, who had crept up behind him, tugging lightly at his sleeve. "Can I say something?" she whispered. He handed her the mic. She clutched it with two hands, her voice small but clear. "Thank you for giving my mommy medicine, and for helping me cook," she said simply. "But most of all, thank you for not walking away." Silence fell over the crowd. Then, applause. Raw, thunderous, rising like a wave and crashing over them both. Lily turned to Michael, who crouched to meet her eyes. "Was that okay?" she asked nervously. He nodded, smiling through tears. "That was perfect." Later that night, as the crowd dispersed and the staff cleaned up, Michael and Anna stood side by side in the now quiet dining room. "You changed tonight," she said gently. Michael shook his head. "No, she changed me. I just followed." Anna reached out, squeezing his hand. "You gave her something you never gave yourself, Michael. A second chance." He didn't respond. He didn't need to. In that quiet moment, framed by dim lights and the last traces of apple and cinnamon lingering in the air, something inside him settled. He'd once built an empire on exclusivity. Now he was building a legacy on compassion. And, for the first time in years, he truly felt full. 2 days after the event at the restaurant, Michael sat in a sunlit room filled with paper birds, Lily's newest fascination. She'd crafted them from menus, sticky notes, and even financial reports he didn't realize were still in circulation. One hung from the lamp above him, swinging gently in the breeze from the open window. He smiled faintly, folding another bird with clumsy hands as Lily coached him from across the table. "No, fold that edge this way," she instructed earnestly, her tongue peeking out in concentration. "Like how Mom folds the corners of the bed sheets." Michael tried again. "Like this?" Lily studied it, then nodded approvingly. "That's better. You're learning." Anna, recovering steadily, had moved into a quiet residential suite attached to the children's wing of the hospital. She was stronger now, enough to sit up, walk short distances, and scold Lily gently for overloading the nurses with paper cranes. But beneath her calm exterior, worry crept in, the uncertainty of what came next. That afternoon, a knock on the door broke their peace. It was Carla Rivera, a child services caseworker, neatly dressed, soft-spoken, and carrying a leather folder. She glanced at Lily's paper birds and smiled. "Busy artists here, I see." Lily waved. "I made one that looks like a dragon. Want to see?" "Maybe later," Carla replied warmly, her eyes flickering toward Michael. "Can we talk privately?" He led her to the kitchen, tension building in his shoulders. "We received a report from the hospital that Anna Bennett is stable enough for transitional planning. It's time to discuss what happens to Lily." Michael exhaled slowly. "Of course." Carla opened her folder. Anna named you as her preferred guardian should anything happen. There's also been a motion filed requesting you become Lily's temporary guardian for the next 6 months, pending formal review. Michael blinked. I didn't expect that to move so quickly. Neither did we, Carla admitted. But the board reviewed your support over the past few weeks, your public testimony and, well, frankly, the outpouring from the community. She slid a single page forward. Anna signed this yesterday. Michael unfolded it. His eyes caught the line near the bottom. I trust Michael Grant not only with my daughter's future, but with her heart. His breath caught in his throat. Is Lily aware? He asked, voice softer now. No, that's your call. Later that evening, as the sun dipped low behind the hospital's rooftop garden, Michael sat beside Lily on a bench, her legs swinging freely. He hesitated, then asked, Have you ever heard the word guardian? She scrunched her nose, like knights who guard castles? He chuckled, kind of, but in this case it means someone who helps take care of you when your mom needs help too. She looked at him, brow furrowed. Like you? Exactly, he said gently. Your mom asked if I could help for a while, be your guardian until she's fully better. Lily sat still, eyes scanning his face. Does that mean you're staying? Michael nodded slowly. If you want me to. There was a long pause. Then she leaned in, resting her head on his shoulder. I don't need a knight, she murmured sleepily. I just want someone who doesn't disappear. He swallowed hard. Then I promise. I won't. Inside the hospital, Anna stared out her window, watching them below. Carla approached her quietly. He's serious about this. Anna nodded. He was never a man of half measures, just a man late to learn what matters. Carla hesitated, then asked, Are you sure this is what you want? Anna's gaze didn't waver. He's not the man I once knew. He's better, because of Lily, maybe, because of all of this. Outside, Michael lifted Lily up and spun her once. She laughed, a sound so pure, so light, it made heads turn. The next day, in a small courtroom on the 6th floor of the Family Services Building, Judge Linda Wexler reviewed the motion. Michael stood with his attorney, hands folded. Anna sat beside Lily on a bench, pale but composed. Mr. Grant, the judge said, peering over her glasses, you're aware this role requires more than finances. It requires presence, emotional stability, patience. I understand, Your Honor, Michael replied steadily. I've spent my life building businesses, but nothing ever prepared me to become part of her world. He glanced back at Lily, and yet, it's the first thing that's ever felt truly right. The judge turned to Anna. Ms. Bennett, do you affirm this request without coercion? Anna's eyes brimmed with emotion. I do. Finally, the judge looked at Lily. Miss Lily, do you have anything you'd like to say? Lily stood nervously, holding a crumpled drawing. She unfolded it slowly, revealing a sketch of 3 people under a tree, herself, her mom, and Michael, all smiling. I don't want to lose my mom, she said softly. But I want Mr. Michael to stay, because when he's around, everything feels safer. The courtroom stilled. Judge Wexler signed the papers. Temporary guardianship is granted. Review in 6 months. As they stepped outside, the wind stirred Lily's curls. She looked up at Michael and whispered, Does this mean I get 2 last names? He smiled. If you want. What about Lily Bennett Grant? She beamed. Sounds fancy, like a princess and a scientist. He laughed. Then that's who you are. In that moment, under the gray Chicago sky, family wasn't just a title, It was a choice. And they had made it. Together. The soft scent of rosemary and lemon filled the sun-drenched kitchen as Lily stood barefoot on a stool, apron askew, stirring a pot of soup under Michael's careful eye. Her brows furrowed in determined concentration, lips moving as she counted quietly to herself. 4 pinches, not 5, she muttered. Otherwise it tastes like Grandma's tea. Michael chuckled, leaning against the counter. That bad, huh? Lily nodded solemnly. Like soap and sadness. Behind them, Anna emerged slowly from the hallway, a fleece shawl wrapped around her shoulders. Her cheeks had regained color, her steps more certain. She paused at the doorway, watching her daughter and the man who had somehow quietly become their family. The house was no longer just Michael's. Though still modest in design, a modernist retreat with clean lines and glass panels, it now echoed with warmth. Paper birds adorned the corner shelves. Crayon drawings lined the fridge. A pink toothbrush rested beside his in the upstairs bathroom. Anna stepped into the kitchen just as Lily reached for the ladle. "Hold on, little chef," she said gently. "Let it simmer. You always rush it at the end." Lily rolled her eyes. "That's because I'm hungry." Michael handed her a slice of baguette. "Start with this, artist in residence." Lily took it and skipped off to the breakfast nook, humming a song she'd made up herself. Alone in the kitchen, Anna turned to him. "You've changed," she said softly. He raised a brow. "That bad?" "No," she said, her voice catching. "That, good. You're softer, kinder, happier." He looked down, brushing a thumb along the countertop. "It took a long time to realize the things I built couldn't fill the quiet inside me. She did that in one afternoon." Anna nodded, her eyes shining. "You gave her a reason to believe again. And in doing that, you gave me one too." They stood in silence for a moment, the rhythm of the bubbling soup the only sound. Then Anna added, "She calls you Dad now when she talks to her stuffed animals." Michael's breath caught in his throat. "She hasn't said it to me yet," he murmured. "She will," Anna whispered, "when it's time." That evening, after dinner, Lily asked for a story. "But not from a book," she said, tugging on Michael's hand. "Tell me one from your head." They curled up on the oversized couch, Michael in the middle, Anna to his left, Lily on his right with her head resting against his chest. "There once was a man," he began slowly, "who spent his whole life building towers made of stone and steel. But he forgot what made a place feel like home." Lily blinked up at him, already enraptured. "One day," he continued, "he met a little girl who showed up with a paper bird and a backpack full of hope, and even though he didn't know it then, she had just given him the map back to his heart." Lily grinned sleepily. "That's a good story." Michael kissed the top of her head. "It's my favorite one." The fire crackled softly as the sky outside turned navy. Later that week, a small gathering of close friends and hospital staff celebrated Anna's full recovery. Michael gave a quiet toast in their backyard, his voice unshakably tender. "I thought success meant owning things, buildings, contracts, stock options, but real wealth," he looked at Lily and Anna, "is in moments like this, in second chances and paper birds and soup recipes passed down from tired hands." After the applause faded, Anna pulled him aside. "I've been thinking," she said. "Lily needs stability, but she also needs truth." Michael tilted his head. "What do you mean?" Anna handed him a small envelope. "I wrote this for her. When the time is right, give it to her." He took it reverently, sliding it into his breast pocket without a word. Later that night, Lily climbed into her new bed, snuggled between a dozen pillows and her favorite plush bear, Percy. Michael came in with a warm blanket. "Story or lullaby?" he asked. "Neither," Lily said, sitting up. She looked at him intently, her eyes shining. I don't need a story tonight, she whispered. I just need to say something. Michael knelt beside the bed. I know you were scared to tell me. I know it was hard, but you're already my dad. He blinked. Lily, you don't have to wait for me to say it anymore, she said, reaching for his hand, because I feel it, here. She placed her small palm over her chest. Michael couldn't speak. He simply wrapped her in his arms, holding her as if the world could never break them again. The next morning, Lily placed a drawing on the kitchen table. It showed the three of them standing beneath a blooming tree, Anna with a book, Michael with a chef's hat, and Lily in a superhero cape. At the top, in blocky letters, she'd written, "This is my family. They saved my mom, they saved me, and I saved them too." Michael taped it to the fridge, his heart full in ways no boardroom had ever brought him. Sometimes, he thought, the smallest voices lead you to the loudest truths. And in the quiet of their new life, love had finally come home.